Hey everyone, welcome to the Let's Evolve pod, which I'm deciding that that's what we're going to call this podcast. We are only on the second episode, so it's very new, and I'm still getting used to talking about myself, something I'm definitely not used to doing. And over the past couple of weeks since recording the first episode, I've been reflecting upon how interesting it's been to go through that process of trying to learn to create more connection with myself and you guys. So, if you are tuning in for your first time or your second time, my name is Sally, and I am the head coach and founder of Let's Evolve. We are a health and fitness coaching business in Australia. And my purpose with this business is to help women to remember that they matter, that their health and fitness is a priority, and that they can find that spark again. And it just comes down to that little beautiful word that I love to use, which is consistency. I thought we would start with a bit of an update of what's gone on over the past couple of weeks since our last chat. You guys who are listening may be familiar that I also recently took part in a podcast with the fitness coaching business company Forward Moves. They help fitness coaches to build their businesses, and my business advisor, Ash, is the founder of that company. Ash gave me the invitation to join her for a podcast. She does have a very popular podcast, and that was kind of where my podcast cherry was popped, so to speak. And that's what a lot of what has brought us here as well. But the podcast with Forward Moves did take place first week of December 2025. So the recording of that podcast was a little while ago, but it wasn't released until last week or a couple of weeks ago now. And that podcast, if anyone has listened to it, if not, I will put it down as a link in the YouTube description. I'll also put it in my link tree on my Instagram. And it's also in the Let's Evolve community forum for all of my customers, if you do want to have a listen. In that podcast, I spoke and opened up about my journey with the things that brought me to coaching. It was a conversation that felt very easy, it had a lot of support there with Ash being my business advisor and myself feeling very comfortable with Ash. The conversation felt very easy. And then the contrast of me sitting here in a podcast studio, talking to myself essentially, talking to you guys in a room, it's a different feeling. It's something that I'm still getting used to, but I know that with practice and time and consistency, I'll definitely find my groove. So since that podcast, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me, connecting with me on the story where I shared about the grief of my sister, my little sister, and how through her death, I was brought into the health and fitness world, starting running as a young girl and then falling in love with that. But unfortunately then developing an eating disorder where I went down a negative spiral, hospital visits and many things that then brought me to the point where I also had to heal and recover and refine my feet and balance with health and fitness. So you could say I've lived many lifetimes with my health and fitness. I've had many ups and many downs, many moments of challenge, but at the end of the day, the one thing that has always brought me back to balance has been putting that effort in towards my nutrition, my exercise, my mental health. And these are the things that I also coach my clients with and support them with. So the business itself is grown from obviously my professional expertise with qualifications that I have, but also the lifelong journey of navigating the many ups and downs that come with a fitness journey. So since those last couple of weeks, initially when the podcast went live, I kind of had some ups and downs where I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I've just released like a very deep story that I haven't spoken about to other people and my customers might hear that. I think that when you have a journey that you go through and you don't talk about it for so long, perhaps it feels a lot more difficult to process and difficult to talk about than if I was just to have less meaning or less perspective that it could, it's a heavy conversation. But I've been really grateful to hear feedback from customers, for example, that felt that they could understand me better and understand where my passion and drive comes from. And they felt more connected to me from that story. And so from hearing that feedback, it has given me a lot of momentum to continue to speak to my customers about things that I might not normally talk about. For example, things like how I navigate the difficulties behind the scenes with business, but also sustaining my health and fitness, navigating changes in life and how I personally deal with those. Whereas before that podcast, I would have been more inclined to make everything about the customer and not really bring my own perspective into things. So I'm really hopeful that as we navigate 2026 and as the business, no pun intended, continues to evolve, that bringing my own personal connections to these stories and to these chats will really help to bring a more depth to the conversation and I guess the storytelling of my journey and how that is actually really applicable to my customers. Believe it or not, my customers and I are quite similar. We both navigate the busyness of life, although I'm not a mum. I'm not working a 9 to 5. I'm running business that doesn't sleep, and I'm still running around trying to keep everything together just like you guys. But over the past couple of weeks, we've had some events. We've had Valentine's Day. Hopefully everyone received some love from someone beautiful in their life. And over these past couple of weeks as well, we've started to move towards the end of February. I cannot believe how fast time is going in 2026. And with that as well, with some behind the scenes information about Let's Evolve, about a month into my new office, I've previously ran the business from home office for 5 years. Previously, before then, I was working in gyms. So to now have an external office away from my home has honestly been a completely life-changing experience, going from being very isolated, not talking to people. Believe it or not, when you're kind of in that business groove and focus so much on supporting customers, everything just revolved around that for me. I struggled a ton with having balance. My business and my life are connected very deeply with my passion being in health and fitness, my business being in health and fitness, and the lines were crossed everywhere. So to now have that separation, it's really given me a new routine and a new way of living. I now wake up at 5 a.m. I grab my bag that I've packed the night before. I get into the fridge and grab my packed lunchbox and I drive to the gym. I do my gym session. I get in the gym shower, get ready, do my makeup in the bathroom, and then I go to my office, wake up the office, get my walking pad going, get some steps in, and I start looking through customer support, supporting my virtual assistant so she's got everything she needs for the day, checking in with my coach who's managing a challenge, making sure she has everything that she needs, and then diving into the work. Whereas before, a polar opposite, I would wake up probably between 6 and 7, get up, do some exercise, whether it was a gym session or a run, come home, have a shower, put some eggs on, have some breakfast, and then dive into that workflow. So it's been a big change, but honestly, it's been probably one of the best things that has happened to me because it's allowed me to start taking part in the world versus being completely isolated at home, where I would really only leave the house, believe it or not, for the gym, for a run, for a yoga class, or to visit someone here and there. Of course, go to the supermarket, all of those worldly things that we do. But to now be in a co-workers space where I'm actually interacting with other people in the world. I know to you guys who are around people all the time sounds so basic, but when you've been working from home for a number of years and really had your head down in the books trying to build a business, it's been pretty cool to have that change. And so what this brings me towards is what I would love to talk to you today about is why I believe women are stuck with consistency. And the reason I bring this in is because I've noticed there are some things in my world that help me stay consistent, even with a complete rapid lifestyle change like the one that I've just explained. Consistency is what a lot of women come to me for. And it does stem back to my childhood days when I was coached for the first time by a running coach. And he said these words to me that I've never forgotten. He said, "Sally, consistency is key. Distance running takes consistency and patience. And you're going to have to put in the work if you want to get somewhere in this sport." And those words kind of rattled their way into my nervous system and haven't left. It's a quote that has stuck with me in everything that I've done, whether it was studies, whether it has been growing a business, supporting customers, working through difficult times, being in relationships and friendships. Consistency is the key. My life revolves around this quote. I have consistency in my wardrobe. I have consistency in my makeup. I don't like things to be too inconsistent. because I found the benefits in consistency. When we are consistent with a good habit, a good attitude, and positive environment, we're able to really double down on that consistency and our growth can catapult into something amazing. At the same time, if we are consistent with habits that sabotage us, attitudes that bring us down, and environments that drain us, if we're consistent with that same approach, but a negative one, we're also going to find ourselves stuck in a negative spiral that feels very, very difficult to find our way out from. So by changing my lifestyle and starting to take part in the world in a new way, I've started to figure out that not only is it my environment that is helping me to stay consistent, not only is it the way in which I think about my day and my health and fitness, but a big one is attitude and the attitude that someone has towards their goals, the attitude that you have towards yourself. When I'm working with my customers, I'm listening to what they're saying. They're saying, Sally, for example, in a check-in, I might receive a customer check-in that says, Sally, I'm struggling this week. Why can't I bring this together? I watch your stories. I listen to your feedback from the check-ins and I just can't put it together. What do I do? And when I read through this customer's check-in and I see her words that say, I can't stay consistent. I am struggling. It's hard for me. That brings me back to coming back to those words, which are so powerful. At the start of those words, I can't, I am. This woman is making a statement about her life and the way in which she thinks about her health and fitness journey. And all it's going to take is consistency towards changing those beliefs and changing that attitude. And it takes consistency and repetition. And when we combine repetition and do that consistently over time, we have the power to change those beliefs and change that attitude and as a result, change those outcomes. When customers are asking me about these struggle points and how they can get from where they are at the start to where they want to be at the finish, there's no magic wand that I can wave to help to make that outcome their reality. But I can definitely give them the wisdom and the knowledge that it is about being consistent with those mental attitudes as much as it is with the nutrition tracking, with the exercise, with the steps, the sleep, the water, all of the things that we need to balance our well-being. So changing your attitude is a great starting point. I think that's why the customer check-ins within my coaching service are so powerful, because it gives you an opportunity to reflect, to revise, to review, and really establishing an approach of reflection is so important in your journey. Often, if someone comes to me, for example, I had a call with a woman yesterday and she said, Sally, I've tried absolutely everything to help myself lose 10 kilos and I just can't do it. And of course, this woman has not got the expertise. She does not have the knowledge of what her body needs to achieve that goal. But more than that, her entire mindset was that I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And when we focus on those thoughts and we reinforce the I can'ts and I won'ts and I don'ts and I'm not made for this or my body is broken and almost like a victim mentality towards your health, that's where you can get yourself really stuck. But I said to this woman, this is a fantastic starting point. The fact that we're here having this conversation is the most powerful part of your journey, because sometimes you have to get to the point where you are ready to receive support. And that is when everything can change. At the end of the day, if my plumbing was broken in my house, if my car was broken down, there's no way that I would even attempt to fix that, because I would need YouTube and ChatGPT and AI, and I would need a ton of time-consuming resources I would not be able to do it. I'm going to be completely honest. But if I was to call the plumber, if I was to call the mechanic and I could get those things fixed immediately, I'd be a very happy person. So looking at that step where you ask for support and speak with a coach for the first time, not as your, rock bottom, but actually the stepping stone towards change. So attitude's a big one when it comes to consistency and achieving your goals. Another one is environment. So just like I spoke about with myself changing from my home office to my now external work office, this change has increased my productivity so much. Like, I cannot begin to bring into words how much my productivity has increased and improved, and just my enjoyment of work. The way in which I work now is just so much more, has so much more flow to it. Whereas when you work from home, it's very easy to be like, oh, there's the washing machine. Someone's at the door. Look, someone's walking outside. Like getting distracted with the most silly things, because when you live and work from home, it's your entire environment, and it becomes very dull. It becomes quite, it can just stop. There's no zest in it. There's no, oh, we're here for work, right? We're also here to eat and to sleep and to do the washing. So those worlds get too blended, in my opinion. I'm sure it works for a lot of people, but for myself, that environment just became something that I no longer had. I was struggling to find my passion, and everything started to feel quite heavy, to be honest. So this change of environment has brought a lot of positivity to my workflow. It has enabled me to have much higher capacity for work as well. My customer client base at the moment, if I'm serving 50 customers right now and servicing a coach who's supporting her customers, I feel I have that capacity now for 75 customers without even thinking twice, because my ability to work productively, my ability to work with focus, and my ability to enjoy myself has just skyrocketed. And so this also is important for you. If you are just really struggling to exercise, one of the things that I would encourage you to think about is your environment. I coach women that train from home and train from the gym. One of my amazing customers, Mel, she has recently made a big lifestyle change where she has moved, she's gone through a big weight loss journey, and we're currently now maintaining her weight loss, which is very exciting. She was struggling so much with the gym. She was really, really struggling to get in there and stay consistent. And so she's now, with her move, we've integrated a home program. And guess what? That training is now something that she wants to do. She's now enjoying the supersets. She's now enjoying the time she's spending training, because we changed the environment, and she now feels more supported at home in her home gym, and it's more accessible to her. She no longer has the guilt of going to the gym when she's low on time. She no longer feels the anxiety of the experience of being in a gym with a lot of crowded people. So the environment can really help you with your momentum. So if you are struggling with your exercise, I would encourage you, reflect on your environment. Is this environment supportive to you? Do you feel encouraged in the environment that you're exercising? And if you're training from home and you struggle because you are trying to do your exercise, but you also feel like you have to go and see the kids, or you also feel like you have to, do those homely tasks, maybe for you going to the gym is a good idea. It might take a little bit of time to drive there, to be there. But at the end of the day, if it's going to help you build a consistent training routine, then it's going to really help you. Routine is how we build momentum. And with momentum, we can create and sustain consistency. With my customers at the moment, working on weight loss, my big message to them is, let's not focus on those numbers. Let's focus all of our energy on the process. Let's focus of all of our energy on, right, I've got this meal and I'm going to enjoy this meal. And I trust that this meal is going to help me achieve my goals. I have this workout to do. Sally's given me the program. Sally's told me what to do. I'm going to go in there and execute. I'm going to feel amazing endorphins after doing that workout. And I've got conviction that this workout is going to help me achieve my goals. Versus the other approach that actually keeps us very, very stuck, because all of our focus is on numbers and metrics. It can be all consuming and leave you flat, because at the end of the day, your body is a machine. You cannot control everything that goes on in your body. The only thing that you can truly control are your choices, and that includes the way in which you fuel your body, the way in which you move your body, the hydration that you give to your body, the rest that you give to your body, and of course, the thoughts, the way you respond to your thoughts. We have thousands of thoughts a day. We can be reactive to those thoughts, or we can be present with those thoughts and choose whether we follow through with them or whether we just listen to them and move on. And so your routine is going to support you across these areas. If you wake up and snooze the alarm, and then you get to work, and then you're drinking coffee and you're skipping breakfast and you're cursing yourself because you didn't exercise in the morning, then you get through a packed work day, get home, you're starving, you haven't moved your body, and then you just decide to eat and feel like you can't stop doing that because You're just trying to numb that difficult pain or emotion that you might be suffering through from the habits that you had earlier in the day. But if we set our day up for success, it might take a little bit of prep the night before. Maybe you prep your breakfast before you go to bed. Perhaps you lay your workout clothes out before you jump in the shower, and trying to look at these habits that you can instill to help yourself organize so that the following day, that routine is really easy to step into and find your groove with. For myself, I'm now in that rhythm of the 5 a.m. wake ups to get to the gym before work. And that's included an evening routine where I'm packing my gym bag the night before. And if I don't do that, I'm going to wake up and then I'm going to be fumbling around, half asleep, no caffeine in my system, trying to pack a bag. It's not going to be fun. So just by spending 10 minutes the night before, even when I'm tired, even when I don't want to do it, but disciplining myself with that habit at the end of the day actually enables me to wake up and step right into that routine, not overthinking it, not stressing about it, not questioning it, but trusting in it because I know that it is something I've done to help myself get the flow going with getting my body moving early in the morning. So I really encourage you, if you want to become consistent, reflect on your routine. Is your routine supporting your ability to follow through with the habits that sustain and create well-being, health, and fitness in your life? Be honest with yourself and don't be afraid to start cutting things out that are not supporting you, maybe adding new things in that will support you, or just having deep reflection on what tweaks you can make to what you're already doing to make it even better. If you can build a stable routine, I believe that this is going to help you find momentum. And with momentum, basically what that means is when we have energy, right? We're in movement, we're in rhythm, we have flow under our feet, and we have that forward lean like you're sprinting down the racetrack. You have momentum rolling under your feet and you're able to then sustain what you're doing. Those habits are no longer something that you're overthinking. They're something that you have trust in. You now have faith in the process of working towards your goals. And the longer that you can sustain that momentum, the easier it's going to become, the more you're going to learn about yourself, and then you can really be consistent. Now, that's not to say that that journey is perfect, because even with momentum, life happens, right? Even with our routine in place, even with momentum under our feet, even with consistency, life happens and things are not going to be perfect. Full honesty, this week my mornings have been very busy. I wanted to go for a jog yesterday morning. I did not have the time to do that. My work had to come ahead of that. And I only had time for a 10-minute walk instead of the 30-minute jog I would have loved to have done. So although I wasn't able to stick to the habit of the jog earlier in the day, I was able to get myself moving. And in those 10 minutes, I spent some time reflecting. I spent some time thinking about my day ahead, and I started my day with a very positive attitude. Versus the opposite approach would have been, I can't do the jog, right? I can't do anything now. I might as well not do anything and just skip this movement. So as you can see, even with momentum, life is going to happen for you. Life is going to happen around you. And instead of saying during those difficult times, well, I can't go for the jog or I can't get to the gym, so I'm going to do nothing. Why don't we flip the script and ask ourselves, right, if success is my only option today, and for me, success, I get to decide what that success is. For example, success for you might be just moving your body today. Success for you could be sticking to your nutrition plan for the day. If that is your only option, what can you possibly do? There's got to be options that you can do. For myself, I couldn't do the run, but I could do the walk, and I did the walk. So not just looking for being perfect with your momentum, but actually looking for opportunities to succeed, no matter how great or small that is, because every single positive action that you take builds momentum towards better things. You are going to learn more about yourself by sticking to the process, even if it's not perfect, than if you say it's all too hard, I can't do it. So as you can see, attitude, environment, and routine are almost like the pillars of what are going to help you become and sustain consistency. I remember what else I'm saying. May I ask how long that we've been talking? Okay, cool. One thing that I know without a doubt is that support matters in your health and fitness journey. As I spoke about in episode 1, when I shared a little bit with you about my own journey through the eating disorder and being in hospital and getting through the recovery of that difficult time, I could not have recovered without support. And that's also very true in my continued health and fitness journey, in my business, in my relationships, my financial health. I've never been afraid to say, I can't figure this out myself, and I'm ready to actually ask for a bit of help here. I see very, very often women are really set on trying to do it by themselves. I can figure this out. I know what to do. I just need to push myself harder. I just need to discipline myself more. But sometimes when we put our hand out and we say, okay, I'm ready for a bit of work, I'm ready for collaboration, I'm ready to learn, that's when we can start to discover the things that I'm talking about today. If you don't recognize that your environment is keeping you stuck, if you have not got the clarity that your attitude is closed and it's not open, ready for growth, and if you don't have the supportive routine that's going to help you create and sustain the momentum that you're seeking to become consistent, you're going to stay where you are. So being open for support is another pillar that we can look at as important for consistency. I never would have become aware of consistency if I didn't have that running coach. And I never would have been aware of how powerful consistency can be in my life if I didn't have coaches over the years, whether it was a coach for my training or my true nutrition, a coach for my business to help me create this incredible support system for women. And I've even been open to having coaches in finances when I've been trying to learn about these things. I've had a mindset coach that supported me in different areas of my life as well. So never be afraid to ask for support, because if you don't know the path that's up before you, if you don't know the steps to take, if you ask for the right support and you can connect with the right person, all being well, they would have walked that journey before you. And I see my own role as a coach, as a woman who can do that for my customers, looking through the things I can do and help someone with, building those programs, building those nutrition plans, but also learning, teaching them and showing them how I've lost 20 kilos and I've kept that off, how I've run a marathon and multiple, how I've run half marathons, how I've, lifted 100 kilos on a deadlift or a hip thrust. And these might be things that you don't necessarily see as a pinnacle in your health and fitness journey. Maybe for you, it's just to feel good, but just knowing that there's a coach out there that has taken those steps, done those things and put in the effort to get there gives you clarity that those are potential opportunities for you. But I would never have been able to do those things without the wisdom and the expertise of the coaching that I've invested into. I was speaking to a friend about this over the weekend, about how coaching is something that, yes, it is an expense. It is something that we pay money for, but the actual value that I've taken on from coaches has actually paid itself off tenfold, because it's allowed me to learn how to sustain my nutrition, how to build good habits. It's taught me how to achieve goals, performance related in training and sports. And so these are things that I think are really important. If you're struggling with your nutrition, if you're struggling with your health, then seeking and being open to being supported is a very important stepping stone. With the clients that I take on, some of them are brand new to coaching and they've never worked with a coach before. And for those women, learning how to be coached and be coachable is also a skill. You've got to be willing to set aside that attitude of, I can do this by myself, and be willing to take on feedback, apply that feedback and see the improvements. It's a good feeling to have someone to support you and kind of giving over that power and being like, okay, I'm in your hands. I'm ready to listen to you. I'm ready to be guided by you. I'm ready to learn, and I'm going to go through this journey knowing that I've come here because I don't know what I'm doing. And the only way for you to figure out what to do is to collaborate with your coach or to collaborate with an expert. Of course, you can fumble along and try to do it by yourself, but just like that little story that I said earlier about the plumbing or the mechanic, it's going to take you a lot longer, probably going to have a lot more curse words to say, and it's going to be a lot more energy consuming than if you are willing to have that support next to you. And one thing that I have found very powerful with the coach that I'm working with at the moment, over my journey, I've worked with multiple coaches. And I think because I am a coach, I'm always looking for that next coach that's going to level me up. Over the course of my journey, I worked with a running coach for around 7 years, very loyal, and still have a lot of loyalty towards him in terms of if I was to go to a race, always giving him updates how my racing went. When you have such a relationship and a trust with someone around your training and your outcomes, that can be a positive experience. When I started the 20-kilo weight loss journey, I worked with a coach for 6 months, and then I actually ended up moving. I was like, right, I feel like I'm ready for something different. I was going through some mental health struggles and I needed someone that I could actually see face to face. So I started working with a new coach. So I think not being too rigid with the people that you work with is important. But I think being with a coach for the stretch of time that is right for your journey is a good idea. For example, every time I've set a goal, I've stuck with that coach until that goal has been met. And then after you achieve a goal, I think it's a very natural experience to say, right, can we set the bar higher here? Or do I need to seek a new experience? Do I need to seek new skills? Do I need to seek a new coach that might actually have the skills that I'm seeking? And am I ready for something different? With myself, having lost the 20 kilos and kept it off, I've pushed myself or challenged myself a ton in the gym. The strength that I've been able to achieve, the muscle, the tone, all of these beautiful things. When you get to a certain level with that, my own experience is that you just want to keep reaching that bar a bit higher. And for me, I'm someone that wants and needs my mind to be challenged, because I do challenge my mind so much in business and in training, in running, in the gym, in yoga. I'm always seeking that someone outside of myself to say, hey, Sally, the bar's still up here. Like, you haven't actually reached the pinnacle. You've got to keep challenging yourself. I feel like if I don't have that external pressure on myself to keep remembering that I have more potential, that I feel like I would probably actually feel pretty crappy and start to feel a bit anxious or negative, because I'm someone that I'm always seeking that growth. That's part of who I am. It's part of my character to always want to kind of level myself up, because I've been through many experiences that have challenged me. I know that there's more in the tank. I have a belief that there is still another level up that we can always go. When I become complacent, that's when I know, right, something needs shifting, something needs changing. So working with this coach that I'm working with right now, he is pushing me mentally, which is something that I need. And I see that as also a blessing to my customers, because when I can show up and I can push myself, I can challenge myself, I can raise the bar. I know that when I look my customers in the eye, I can look at them with the knowledge and give them that support of, hey, I'm here to support you with finding your own way in doing that as well, because I've walked this path before you. Something that my existing coach is talking to me about at the moment is like, right, what's your why? Like, where are your standards? And in your health and fitness journey, you're going to start with low standards. If you are inconsistent right now, it is because your standards are not high enough for you to sustain that discipline with yourself to keep showing up. Consistency is not about being perfect. Consistency is about waking up every day with the attitude that today I'm going to give it a shot and I'm going to see where I fall. I'm going to see what I can bring to the table. And tomorrow I'm going to put in that little bit more effort. So we're never perfect from day one, but over the course of 52 weeks or even just 4 weeks, we want to walk through life with the attitude of every day I'm going to continue to improve, continuous improvement. And that attitude and that way of living is how you will not only become consistent, but create a new ceiling or break through your own ceiling or the limitations that you might be putting on yourself, which also helps to support the removal or the release of any limiting beliefs that could be keeping you really stuck. So your values and your standards and your boundaries are really important with your health and fitness. If you currently are someone who really struggles with showing up for themselves, someone who struggles even with having appreciation or love for themselves, because you might be feeling stuck, because you might not have had the evidence before you that you are capable or competent to succeed or achieve the feeling that you want, then have that reflection with yourself. Like, what do I care about? Where are my values? Like, do I value discipline, or is that something that I actually more so value spontaneity and I need that change of rhythm all the time? Do I value fun? Do I value balance? Am I someone that actually values more the repetition and the monotonous journey that is just repetitive? So being clear with yourself about what you need is very important. I know for myself, I personally value like one set mind, like let's focus on the goal, let's work until we achieve that. Versus one of my customers I was speaking to yesterday. She was able to speak to me clearly. She was able to say, Sally, my life is a roller coaster. I need balance. I don't want rigidity. I actually want flexibility. And for her to be able to voice that to me and for me to come to her and say, hey, I see that. I'm listening to that. And I'm going to ensure that the way in which we approach your health, your training, your nutrition, and your habits is going to reflect those values. Because at the end of the day, it's not my job to put my values on my customers. It's my job to help my customers recognize their values and for them to then level up and acknowledge those values are important and to live through the health and fitness journey and the coaching experience with those values at forefront of mind. We don't want to be putting women in boxes. We don't want to be saying this is how it needs to be. You should look like this Instagram model, or you should be applying yourself with this fitness coach's nutrition plan. That's a very hard and fast way to feel very negative and to have an awful experience in health and fitness. But rather looking at yourself in the mirror or speaking with your coach and asking, where am I at in life? What do I care about? How do I want to feel? And most importantly, what do I need to let go of in order for those things to come into play? And when we can approach our health and fitness from a very personalized approach like that, not only will you find joy, but your goals will pull you in because you'll be living in alignment with the way in which you want to live and the way in which you need to live to achieve those goals. Coaching is not just calories, macros, sets, and workout plans. It's actually looking at the human being and asking, all right, this person's come to me. They've got a problem. I've got some solutions. Let's now come together and find a way for this woman to follow through with her calorie deficit, to follow through with her strength training routine. And for 5 different women, that might look like a 5-day training split or a 3-day training split. For one woman, that might look like a nutrition plan that's very regimented and structured. And for another woman, it might look like weekly meals out with her partner. So we have to come to the table of your goals. We have to come to the goal with that level of understanding and flexibility to adapt to where you're at in life. So I say all of this today to remind you that consistency is not about motivation. Consistency is not about whether you're a good person or a bad person, or whether you're eating good food or bad food, whether you're right or wrong. Consistency is actually more so to do with internal and external factors such as your routine, your attitude, your environment, the support that you're willing to take on, and your values, your standards, your boundaries. And when we can come to a health and fitness with an attitude of, yes, I'm going to get there, I'm going to achieve that 10-kilo weight loss, or I'm going to achieve that new running personal best, or I'm going to actually build a gym routine I can stick to, whatever that pinnacle of your journey might be at the moment, understanding that it's not about the motivation, it's about the ability to sustain the process. So I hope that has inspired some thought for you today. This is clearly a topic that I can talk about quite a lot and in many different scopes. Like we can talk about the routine and the importance of that. Then we can also talk about the mindset and the importance of that. But at the end of the day, I think just remembering to not overthink it and remember that even small action will always beat no action. The procrastination is never going to get you anywhere, but even just taking a small step forward is what's going to help you. And I've learned that in my own health and fitness journey. I've learned that in my business journey. The times where I would never make content and procrastinate making a reel for probably a whole month before I actually did anything about it because I had so much fear around putting my voice out there by putting this message out there. It got me nowhere. It also caused a ton of anxiety. But now I try to follow through with the mindset of action is always going to beat no action. Get in there, get my hands dirty, make myself look like an idiot, say silly things, but know that I'm always willing to learn and grow from that. And that's what I believe is going to help me to continue to come in here and make podcasts for you, to continue to educate, support, and connect with you. Going 43 minutes. Cool. Awesome. So with today, we are going to wrap up just with a quick little thank you. Thank you for listening. This podcast is going to be posted to my YouTube channel. It's also going to be distributed across the Spotify and the iTunes account, which I've not yet made, but I'm going to get around to it today. And I will be distributing this one through my Instagram as well. So if you want to learn more about me, you can follow me at SallyWarren_1, or our Instagram account for the business is Let's Evolve Co. And you can see all of our customer journeys, what to eat, how and how to move your body with that consistency at forefront of mind. I hope this has been interesting, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm flying to Brisbane for a fitness coaches event with my business advisor, Ash from Forward Moves. She's invited me to join, so I can't say no to that, and I cannot say no to sunny Brisbane, sunny Queensland. So I'm really excited to attend that. And that is that is part of what I've been through with Ash. I've been open to support from her, and I've been open to working with her probably over a year now. And that's opened many doors for me to get to this point where we have a podcast. So I look forward to chatting with you then, and I'll give you an update on how that went, give you an update on how I'm going with my coach and my own health and fitness goals. And we'll definitely come back with more support for you guys as well, with your mindset, your attitude, and all of the things that are going to help you create incredible results over this year. All right, I'll speak with you soon. Okay, yeah. Thank you.